Eskom has ramped up power cuts to stage 4 until further notice. The power utility says the escalation is due to the breakdown of units and a diesel shortage. According to officials, just over 17,000 megawatts of generating capacity have been lost through these latest breakdowns. The Africans have been subjected recently to stage 2 and stage 3 levels of power cuts this week alone. Megawatt Park says that these are likely to continue well into the festive season. Minister in the Presidency, Newzroom has been speaking about the power crisis this morning. He says he's confident that the new Eskom board will come up with a solid plan to stabilize the grid.
I spoke to the chairperson of the newly established board. He told me that they are really getting deep into issues, and then they hope at some stage when that time comes to give us an idea what path is supposed to be followed. Let's give them that space. They have a track record of having turned things around where they come from, in particular the chairperson and some of them in their individual capacity. And he has just told me that this weekend they are just going to look at what they call business operations approach on the matter. Very soon, not too long, they will actually give an idea where to take this thing.
For more on the country's power crisis, let's speak to Professor Sampson Mampwheli. Prof, a very good afternoon to you. Eskom said earlier this week that it had run out of money as far as its diesel funds were concerned. So not surprising that we're dealing with stage 4, but will things get worse before they get better?
Yes, so good evening, good afternoon to you and the viewers. We are expecting that things will get worse before they get better. The next 6 to 10 months will be quite difficult for Eskom and for the country. Remember, we're going through various stages in terms of resolving this crisis. The first stage was the president going through various consultations and then coming up with a plan. And then the second stage was implementation of the president's plan. And one of the things that the government has done was then to release the previous board of their duties and then to bring in a new board. So the new board needs to then look at the president's plan and various other plans, such as your just energy transition plans and all those other plans, and then look at how best these plans can be implemented. Already there are teams that the president put in place that are working on the president's plan, various aspects of the president's plan. So we expect that the board will then do that, make that analysis, and then kind of consolidate all the plans that are in place, and then consult with the people who are busy operationalizing the president's plan, and then come up with a comprehensive kind of a plan, and then tell the nation this is what is going to be done. However, work has already begun. Like Eskom has already started ramping up maintenance, which is partly the reason why we must expect the worst before things start to stabilize at Eskom in the next 6 to 10 months.
But what's a reasonable time for the plan to come up with a credible plan, given that it is a pressing situation and people are even more impatient with whoever is new at Eskom or has been there for a while, because this is an issue that has progressively got worse since 2008?
Yes, so since 2008, basically in 2003, the white paper warned us about this challenge. And then since 2008, we've had problems with load shedding. And the government's plan was basically to the new builds that they started, new build capacity in Lupi and Kusile. We know what happened with those. In 2013, we started. In 2010, we had the IRP 2010 that was supposed to be implemented. It was implemented to a certain extent, and then there was policy uncertainty at some point when some people were pushing the nuclear build and all those kind of things. Now, in 2019, the IRP was then revised, and then it started giving guidance. And Minister Mantashe, we must credit him for that. He's been implementing the IRP quite well. The challenge is that we're following the problem. We have not been proactive in terms of solving the problem. There's never been a proper diagnosis of the problem ever since 2008 when it started happening, apart from that warning that the white paper on renewable energy. Now, the president has gone through a process where he did a proper diagnosis of the problem, engaging various stakeholders, and he came up with a plan, which, in my view, is a plan that will work. Unfortunately, that plan is basically following the problem, and for us, we just need to wait for the plan to kick in. And things are going to be worse, like I said, before they become better. Part of the plan is being implemented. The board needs to look at what is being implemented, and part of the plan will start to be implemented in the next 6 to 7 months, and that's when, in the next 7 to 10 months, things will start to subside, and then load shedding, we expect that in the next 23, 24 months, it should be a thing of the past, and we should have more than enough generation capacity in the country, and even more to an extent that we can even export some of the electricity.
You talk about waiting, Prof, but it's no fun waiting in the dark when you can't even watch TV to keep yourself occupied. The issue of the lack of a budget for diesel, how significantly is that going to change the picture at the moment? Can Eskom even get money elsewhere? Would government have to assist it in order to free up some almost immediate, not fuel, but money to be able to buy this diesel? Because without it, it appears as though any plan is going to struggle. Am I right?
Yes, so government needs to come on board, in my view, as quickly as possible, and assist Eskom in terms of funding to buy the diesel. We have the problem of cash flow at Eskom is big, because remember, in one of the financial years, they made a profit of about 8 billion rand. But that couldn't be seen in their balance sheet. It quickly disappeared to pay for the huge debt that are associated with the Medupi and Kusile and many other problems that were there before. So, and at the same time, municipalities are owing Eskom a lot of money. They are owing Eskom more than 50 billion rand. And Eskom has spent more than 11 billion rand on diesel. So they need money, like, urgently. They need money now. So government needs to give Eskom money to buy the diesel, and government needs to give Eskom money to ramp up and do maintenance of the coal fleet that's giving us problems, so that in the next 6 to 10 months, the problem can start to subside. So, in my view, government needs to come on board quite quickly.
These current breakdowns, the latest ones, come up to about 17,000 megawatts of power. How quickly can we get that back online?
It's quite difficult to get that kind of generation capacity back online very quickly. And when you talk about 17,000 megawatts, that excludes the partial load losses, which we normally have. So basically, when the power stations are operating properly, the way they're supposed to operate, most of these power stations that are giving us problems can't operate at higher capacity, or the capacity that they are designed to operate at. So that takes away part of the generation capacity that we're supposed to have. In terms of the timelines, they bring back units, one unit at a time in various power stations that are down. And depending on the nature of the breakdown, sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it takes 2 weeks, sometimes it takes 3 weeks, and also depending on the procurement process, because Eskom has got this precarious procurement process that they're trying to streamline, which goes through with the public procurement process, almost similar to your PFMA, where they need to go through tenders and things like that to get the parts that are required. In some cases, some of the parts some of the power stations or units that break down, you find that most of the parts are already obsolete. So when one thing breaks, you need to change a much bigger unit, and that takes time. So that's why it's very difficult to say in the next week or 2 weeks all the units will be back. It depends on the nature of the problem.
Professor Sampson Mampwheli, always good to speak to you, sir. Thank you.